I'm out here, did a little emergency grading. Now I'm watering, trying to keep the dust down, get some moisture in this for them so it doesn't blow out. That's like a giant 900 horsepower hair dryer. That'll take the moisture out real quick. Alright, here we go. So I got a call from Blackfish. They're bringing my dozer blade, so this is my last load. I gotta run home and get the galleon going. So this is what's going on behind me. I got one head run. I got the one on the right hand side, which is spraying way over there. Keep that dirt moist. And then the other half of it's in the middle where he takes off. I come back up the other side. I'll leave a pretty good layer of water. By the time he gets back, it won't be greasy. So Kyle Fisher had his dad, Neil, bring the blade and the push arms back. He got done boring holes for me, and he was more than fair, so thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that. Anyway, I kind of looked like the ding dong here. Got the crane over there, we got it hooked up, and then the crane quit. It was out of fuel. So I got fuel in it, got it bled, we got it lifted off. Anyway, just out of curiosity, he took it across the Black Cat scale, and with just the dozer and the push arms, that weighs 16,600. Book says a U dozer on a 9 weighs 18. So by the time you add in the cross brace, the tilt cylinder, the other brace, all these pins, knuckles, and the trunnion caps, that's probably about what they weigh, is about 18,000. So all the bolts, all the stuff. Anyway, it's too bad I don't have a bulldozer to put this on. I can't believe this is taking this long, but I've been busy and just haven't had time to work on this, and it's embarrassing because I need this fixed. Anyway, I'll get it done. Just be patient with me. I will get it done. So I want to thank Kyle. Name of his company is Blackfish, and thank his dad for bringing that up. Anyway, worked out great, so thank you, boys. All right, kids, it's Thursday morning. Jeff is feeling a lot better. I went to the doctor yesterday. He said that in his experience, this stuff that's going around, that a Zpack has done the best at getting rid of this hack and cough. So yesterday was my first day on it. You take 2, and then you take 1 a day for 4 more days. So you've only got 6 tablets. But I slept pretty good last night. Didn't have an episode where I had to get up and clear my lungs out, because I'll wake up in the middle of the night and it's like I'm gurgling inside, and it just, you got this instant reaction to start coughing. So this morning I am headed out to do some more watering, and then possibly one more pass with the blade, because they're out of stuff to spray for a day or 2. And one of the reasons is that we had a bad frost here. I went camping Left last Friday. Came back Monday, I think it was. And was out to Panther Creek, which is out just out of Chalice. Oh, I don't know, 8-10 miles. There's a road called Morgan Creek, and that's the turnoff to go to the Jervois cobalt mine. And you go, we went out about 23 miles off road. You go to the top of Morgan Creek, and then you after you go down the other side, that's Panther Creek. And so I don't know how many miles it is to Cobalt. After that, the town of Cobalt, which is kind of nothing more than a Forest Service building, is probably 10 more miles. And then you're going to hang a left to go up to the mine. My youngest son, Taylor, has been working up at that mine. Taylor does automation. And so he's been out there for over a year off and on. And, but anyway, we'll get into that later. Because the Jervois, the cobalt mine ties into all this water stuff, and people have this big conspiracy theory about the cobalt mine, and I'm going to clear that up. So we came home Monday, we got up, and it had rained all night. We got up, there was snow on the ground, and when we left, it was snowing pretty good. When we got up the top of Morgan Creek, it was really coming down. And then when we dropped down out and into Chalice, it was just overcast. And then when we left Chalice and climbed Willow Creek Summit, it was just coming down buckets. And then into Mackey. So I think they must have got froze Sunday night here. Anyway, there is a huge amount of potatoes that just turned them black. So all this chemical that was going to go on the spuds is on hold, because what happens when it freezes the potatoes like that is they have their sets on the bottom, little teeny potatoes, and it'll drop those sets. The plant will come back, but I'm guessing they're going to be a good 30 days behind. And they won't get as good a quality potatoes, and they won't get as good a yield, which will be good for the price of potatoes because they're in the toilet. Anyway, those potatoes, I don't know how bad frozen they are, but my friend I'm working for out here that owns the spray plane, he's an agronomist for a company, and he says they'll come back, but he said the yield won't be good and the quality won't be good. So anyway, so let's talk about the water situation here. So all that, the call on water, that's off. Those guys got so much bad publicity over that because they waited to make the call after all these guys had their potatoes and sugar beets and everything planted. So if you can't water that, I mean, you're talking, I can't fathom the amount of money loss that would be if they turned their wells off. it was really, really a poor thing to do. But years ago, the Twin Falls Canal Company made a call on water on a city, just a small town, and they ended up going to court, and the judge said, "Are you short of water?" And they said, "No, but we own this much, and so we want it." And he said, "You know what? You come back when you can show you that you're short on water and it's going to damage you." And so that all went bye-bye. So you're going to shut off. It went from 500,000 acres to 300,000 because I don't know, the publicity they got, they knew they pulled a real boner. And so the Twin Falls Canal pumps out of the Snake River. So people are asking, what good's it going to do to shut off ground pumpers? Well, the Twin Falls Canal Company down there filed on all the water, clear up. So they own what's in the American Falls Reservoir, which is the largest reservoir on the Snake River system. It's 1.2 million acre feet. And then they also filed on the groundwater from Tilden Bridge, and you can look that up on Google Earth. It's over by Ferry Butte, right over there. I can see it from here. So there's lots of springs from Tilden Bridge on down through and into the reservoir. And so they filed on all that. So what they're claiming is the flows from those springs are down because of pumpers. Last year, they made a call and said they needed 75,000 acre feet of water. And so there's some guys that had wells, but they also owned surface water out of canals and ditches. And there's been a lot of guys that have gone back to the ditch because what they did is that way they could say, well, here's this much water we're not taking. So the Bingham groundwater users supplied them, they bought, I think, $1.8 million worth of water in storage. So, like my canal system, their water rights go back to the 1870s. So they have storage water in the Palisades Reservoir. And a lot of other canals have storage. So you can buy storage from all these canal companies. So they sent 75,000 acre feet of water to them, and they said, oh, we don't need it. So it went down the drink. And the claim is that they took that 75,000 acre feet and they used it for recharge down there, which isn't going to help them. Anyway, this time they're making, a call. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of acres feet they wanted, but if you shut down 500,000 acres, we're talking a lot of water. Your reservoirs are full. The river's still running really high. So there's a lot of water going down there. You got to remember that everybody around here who pumps out of the ground pays a fee. And I don't know what it's based on, whether it's based on how many acres or how much water you're using, but they pay a fee. So there's millions and millions of dollars that goes into this fund. And that funds the legal end of it. There's attorney firms that are making bank. But the other thing it does is it pays the canals and stuff here to do recharge. And early in the spring, when we have free flow in the river and they're not on decree, they'll run this water. They've got places where they can run it in the ground. My canal has a lot of gravel canal bottom, so they'll just turn in a certain amount of feet, certain amount of water, and most of the time it never even makes it to my place, and they can measure what goes in and what comes out. There's no evaporation in March, and I think my canal, I think they said they put about 400 and some acre feet in the ground one year. So we're putting a lot of water in the ground. So I want to show you our runway. So this is an FAA listed runway. It's 2,750 feet long and 75 feet wide.
That's just something you don't see. We should probably water ski it. That's so cool. I know these guys. You never get an airstrip that's fully covered with water. We're gonna hit it a little bit fast, just so it's kind of more rock solid. Oh wow, look at all those siphon tubes. Oh shit, ducks. Ducks, ooh, almost got that one. Just touch it, just gotta touch it. There we go. That's so cool. Woo! Yeah, I couldn't pass up that opportunity. Thanks, Jeff. You guys did a good job watering your strip. Okay.
And we flood irrigated it. I want to show you how much water we put in the ground. Years ago, when I was building my shop pad in my yard, out behind my house, that weedy patch, I'd stripped all the dirt off and I dug a giant hole and took all the gravel out. And then when I was done, I put the dirt back in and filled it up. But I had done that before we started irrigating, and I had the hole about 12 feet deep. It was as deep as the ROPS on the 988. And we turned the water in. Our dad started watering the runway. And the next morning I came out, there was 2 feet of water in the bottom of that hole. That's how much water we put in the ground from flood irrigating. So without flood irrigators, the pumpers wouldn't have water. Now the other issue is, what was the level of the aquifer back in the early 1900s? Nobody knows. They don't know the level of the aquifer until they started drilling wells and measuring, which I don't know when that was. So according to their stuff, the aquifer was at its highest level in 1986, which was the year that Idaho Power was able to get a moratorium through with the state that after 1986, no more farm irrigation wells could be drilled, and no wells have been drilled since then, unless you had water from somewhere else that you transferred and then drilled a well. So this gets crazy complicated. There's no way I can cover all the BS in a short video. It would be really cool to go down to Twin Falls and talk to some of the farmers down there, or somebody on the canal company. But there's a lot of politics in this. One of the guys that, my understanding is, one of the guys that used to be on the Twin Falls Canal is now on the state water, whatever, and they're the ones that make these decisions. And my understanding was, clear back in 2004, he said he wanted to see every well up here cemented in and all this ground dried back up. So they want all that water for themselves. And then I'm sure Idaho Power plays a part in it because it would allow them to generate way more electricity from all that water going down there. So there's a place called Thousand Springs where the water comes out the side of the rocks. And if you go down there, the last canal that takes water out basically dries the river up, and then downstream this water comes out. So you kind of got like two snake rivers, two water systems. But some guys are claiming that after the Chalice earthquake that the aquifer changed and the levels changed, and they think through that earthquake that the water's going other places. Now, there's some conspiracy theorists that claim that the Jervois mine got a bunch of money from the Biden administration, and it was tagged to some money that was supposed to go to Ukraine. Well, a year or two ago, I can't remember, my son Taylor was telling me that the mine had hired like 40 people, and they came into Salmon, Idaho, and they bought homes, rented homes, whatever, ready to go to work. And good old Joe Biden allowed China to flood the market with cobalt, which drove the price down so low that Jervois couldn't do anything. So they're still getting ready to ramp up, and maybe Biden's come to his senses, but it did a lot of damage to him. So I'm sure one of my U.S. senators stuffed a little pork in there to get some of that Ukraine money back and get it to Jervois. Now, they said they need a lot of water to process the cobalt. I don't know about that. They were going to build the processing facility here, right next to Agri-Service. That's just a few miles from me. And I was going to do some of the ground prep work for that facility. And there's a building laying over there. It's been laying there for years. They've never used. Anyway, the company that used to own it, can't even remember their name, has been bought out by this Jervois. So they've sold the property in Blackfoot. Taylor told me, if you can believe this, all of the cobalt that comes out of that mine up there will get put on a boat and shipped to Argentina, I don't know, somewhere in South America to be processed. Makes no sense. If Trump was still in office, it would have been running by now. We'd have no Chinese cobalt, and it would have been processed here. Probably would have been processed right here in Blackfoot and created a bunch of jobs. So as far as the water goes, I don't know, but the mine is way out there in a complete different watershed. I don't think it has any commonality with the Snake River Aquifer. The Snake River Aquifer is the same size as Lake Erie. We're not short of water. We're really not. And these guys here are going to figure out how to make sure that the Twin Falls Canal Company gets the water it needs for its growers down there. There's no way they're going to pull the BS on them that they're trying to pull on us. It's just too much money. I mean, can you imagine taking somebody's livelihood away and losing their ground and making it completely worthless? Good farm ground here is $10,000, $11,000 an acre. If you dried it up, it might be worth less than $1,000, and with no water rights on it, you can't develop it. You can't do a subdivision. You can't do anything. They need to do some major recharge. They need to have a lot more recharge going on than what they do now. Now, my place is like a foot or two of topsoil and then nothing but pit run gravel. And I don't even make enough off the hay that we sell off of there to even pay the taxes. So I told him, I said, you know, I'd strip all the dirt off my place and run water 24/7 in the ground. But for some reason, they don't want private entities or individuals to get any of the recharge money, which I just don't understand that. Maybe there's some good reason behind it, but I just said, you know, there's so much marginal ground, flood irrigated ground. You know, if people got some money, they'd just run water. Now, all you have to do is you have to set up a measuring device to see how much water they're putting out and then pay them based on that. So there's a little cost into it, but they need way, way more recharging sites. And they need some where you're spreading the water over a massive area to make sure it's getting filtered before it goes into the aquifer. So the aquifer is not like a giant cavern under the ground. It's lava rock, and that water is traveling in the rock, and it's all full of cracks and crevices and whatever. If you look, when they put a well camera down a big irrigation well, you can literally see the water moving because the casing only goes down to the rock, and then after that there's no casing. And it's really quite interesting to see that water moving through the rock. And so that's the aquifer. It's huge, it's massive. But there's lots of ways to solve this problem. I just don't understand why they made such a huge call on water. Now, and the reason they need to do some massive recharge projects, but when we get a year where we don't get good precipitation, there's going to be hell to pay. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. There's no conspiracy with the Jervois mine. This whole thing has now been put on hold. Nobody's well is being shut off. No one's. And so they're going to make sure that the boys down south get their water, and guys are going to get their water here. We're going to be fine this year. So anyway, that's what's going on here. So I'm going to get out and start pumping water and water this runway and maybe grade it one more time. And then I've got to get the grader loaded up and head for the hills. There's just a lot of money involved in this. There's huge amounts of money, unfathomable amounts of money involved in this. So that's what drives things, is money. So anyway, you guys have an awesome day. I'm going to go to work. Time to fill the water tanker again. So this is the Aberdeen Springfield Canal I'm sucking out of. These guys have surface water and rights in this canal to water their farm over here. But they've cut the hay, so water's off, so I can't get water off of the pump because it's off, so I gotta suck it out of the canal. Don't tell the Twin Falls Canal Company though, because I'll probably come up here and make a call on my 11 horsepower pump. Put me out of business. Oh man. Tough, right? It's tough when you got a big hose. You gotta wrangle it. I'm a big hose wrangler. Those that know me know I have big long hose. Okay. So what I did is I watered that runway over and over and over, got it wet, bladed it one final time, so I need to go out there and sprinkle water and kind of run on it and pack it down. I'm done. This is a hobo freight motor. Predator. goes out here, goes around here, goes up there and in the tank. No farms, no food. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, drop my phone up here. Filthy whore keeps throwing the phone out. So let's see, it's 4:27. So at 5 o'clock, I'll have 8,000 gallons of water. So time to go in the truck, take a nap, something. Well, this is the end of day 2 of taking my zithromycin, my Zpack, and I don't know. I haven't noticed a lot of difference. Still coughing, still feel awful. I sure hope this takes care of it. This has been going on for over a month now, and it's really hard to get up in the morning and go to work because I feel awful, but I got to get stuff done. So I'm still out here on the runway. I think they might fly tomorrow, so I got to hustle and get it finished. I regraded it, pulled stuff from the shoulders to the center. I'll keep at it. Jeff will win eventually. Home sweet home. It is 9:10. Get up at daylight, start all over again. I'm sure I'm gonna have to be out there early in the morning to make sure we got good moisture in it. We don't have any rocks coming up. That's the biggest problem with it, is the amount of cotton picking rocks that are in that ground. I just have to roll my windrow real light at the end and try to separate the rocks and roll them to the side. So let's see, what do I want to take here? A bunch of stuff out of here. So I sure hope the Zpack's gonna work. I'm telling you what, I'm tired of this, bad tired. See you tomorrow. So I'm out here bright and early. Dave's taking his first load. So I'm just gonna run the tanker up and down this loaded and get the center nice and shiny, packed down hard. This stuff's really hard to grade because of the little rocks and stuff that are in it. I have to just keep winging them over here to the side. That's all the stuff right there that comes out. I got all these little teeny rocks. I got some big ones. A couple of years ago I ripped the center of it with the grader to pop out all the big ones there was. Yesterday out in Butte County they had 2 air tractors collide, killed one pilot, and the other one, I think he's still alive. Haven't heard his condition yet, but they were working a mile apart. Somehow got into each other. I got dust coming off the side down there, but it looks nice and smooth. Hey doggies, what's up? Hi, hi, hi. What you got there? You got the rope? Go get her! Oh, man. So I'll go sit in the truck and wait for it to load here. Take a break. Alright, let's go. I sound terrible today, don't I? Yeah. Okay, I am home. I think I'm done with the runway. Probably going to go ahead and get the boys to take their white little water truck out there and leave it, because we'll have to maintain it with some moisture in it through the summer, or it's just going to go to pot and everything we've spent to fix it will be for nothing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. The explanation about the water stuff, like I said, it's a complicated issue. In the description below, I'm going to leave a link to the last agreement that they made, and then now it's broken. One of the things I never brought up was the fact that, well, what if we have a drought year? There's not water for us here, and there won't be water for them, so are they going to want all the water that's here delivered? I don't know. It's a complicated deal, but there's no linkage between the cobalt mine and the water stuff. So anyway, be careful who you listen to. I have just been so sick for the last month and just out of gas. I just haven't filmed a lot. I don't know, just haven't had the desire to do that. I've just been so run down, so I apologize for that. I'm still hacking, still coughing. I still got, I think, 3 more of those Zpack pills to take. We'll see what happens. But anyway, you guys have an awesome weekend. I'm going to take the whole weekend and take a big nap. So we'll see you next week.
It's alright.